the sleigh ride together with you. Do 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 do. We're live? We're live, baby. What's going on, guys? Full. Anyways, it's the Christmas special, and we are talking about one of the new products that we're going to be dropping today, right after the show. And in order to talk about that thing, we got to go over to Justin Smith. And Justin Smith, one of the things, before you say anything, you just sit there and look beautiful. One thing that we hear all the time is that body wear doesn't happen.
It's true. We do hear that a lot, but you are evidence to the contrary.
I believe there's a lot of body wear going on right here, boys and girls. So, and with further ado, let's talk about our wear sleeves, Justin.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate that. Hey, everybody. It's been a little while. Thanks for tuning in. We wanted to take a minute and kind of show you something that we're really proud of. It's a brand new product. It's our body sleeve kits. And shock body sleeves have been something that we've been working on for about 2 years. Why did it take us 2 years to do? Well, there's all kinds of patents and other issues that kind of slow us down a little bit there. But now we've got everything in place, and we can launch this for everyone to enjoy. You guys have all talked to us about this. There's many discussions that have been all over the internet about body wear. Let me kind of clarify that, and Steve can probably second anything that I have to say about body wear, since he is the perfect specimen of body wear at the moment. Believe it or not, if you look at Steve right now, everything on his chest and right here used to be threaded, but no longer. It's completely smooth due to sand, mud, and everything else that gets in the middle of the body on your shock and the divider. So let's go over here to some of these.
Justin, I do have to bring up a comment real quick because it is probably one of the funniest things I've read so far. It says, I love a sleeve. My wife thinks she's with the pool boy when I wear it.
Pretty good. I like
Hell
it.
yeah.
Keep them coming. It is Christmas, so ho, ho, ho. Right? Oh, and then we've got over here, we got Dom showing up in, what are you, Santa Elf?
Buddy the
today?
Elf.
Buddy the Elf.
Buddy, yeah.
All right.
What's your favorite color?
Clearly, I don't have any kids. Otherwise, I might know that. John, what are you at the moment? Ozempic Santa?
John is old.
Mitch, you just have the spirit. That's it, right? You're just happy.
Full of spirit.
Okay, yeah. Excellent.
Not spirits.
But I am clearly not in the spirit other than being happy at the moment that we're doing a feed, which I kind of love. Steve has all the spirit in the world. So if you guys are wondering if this is a politically correct,
I'll show you all the spirit too, boys.
it is definitely not. We're going to get some calls from HR, guaranteed. So back to body sleeves. You guys, people want to blame body wear on all kinds of stuff. Well, guess what? It's very, very simple. These are stock bodies off multiple UTVs. If you can come in and see any of this stuff, it would be great if you could zoom in. But these are not an aftermarket spring kit. This is not aftermarket valving. None of these shock bodies that we're showing you are anything but bone stock from the factory. And when you've got a divider, for instance, this one, imagine the springs on the shock body, and you've got a divider that's sliding up and down on the body every time you hit a bump.
Can you do that slower, Justin?
Steve, careful.
Thank
careful.
you. Okay,
Thank you.
sorry.
Control yourself. As soon as this thing is moving up and down 1,000 times an hour when you're driving your car, imagine a little bit of sand, a little bit of mud, a little bit of all the terrain you're driving through stuck in between the two of these. And this is just sandpaper the whole time. Well, the factory or OEM have decided, honestly, for the better of all of us, to go to an aluminum shock body on most everything that you see on a brand new UTV. This saves weight, has a lot of implications when it comes to live shock systems like Dynamics or Smart Shocks. A lot of people don't know this, but when you go to a steel outer body or an aluminum inner, or if you change the material from inner to outer, the expansion rate with temperature between the two materials is different, and you start to lose seal on the inside. So you have to run steel and steel, or you have to run aluminum and aluminum. Most everything is aluminum and aluminum because of weight, and also because when you run a live shock system with an electronic or magnet style live valve, controlling the system. That magnet is susceptible to steel or ferrous dust. So if this piston on the inside is wearing out the steel body and a little bit of that metal dust is going through the system, normally it wouldn't affect the function of the shock, but it can get into the magnet of the live system and affect it. So everything is aluminum. Back to where we started. You got aluminum bodies, they wear out quicker when you've got sandpaper running through the system every time you drive it. This one in particular just has wear on one spot, but it actually wore through the shock body all the way. You can see my finger through there. And this is a stock UTV. Just depends on how you drive, where you drive, and what you've got for things on the terrain, how that gets affected. Steve, you've got something else. I can see it in your face.
No, Justin, I could just relate to the expansion rate because as soon as I shaved my beard, my neck expanded. And so I just know all about expansion rate. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. A little explanation for all that.
Yes.
So, here you go. Comparison between stock shock body, on there, stock shock body, and our new body sleeves. So, body sleeve attaches to the shock via the two-piece crossover ring, and it's adjustable with the crossover ring. If you want to run the crossovers up and down on there like you normally would adjust for ride quality and other things, then the sleeve is going to move with it. That sleeve now is a much rougher surface or harder or I guess longer lasting surface for the sand, mud, and dirt that's going to get between the divider and the outer sleeve. So the material that we're using here is going to outlast basically most UTVs over time, thousands and thousands of miles. Certainly it's going to outlast any aluminum body that exists prior. So in essence, this cures the body wear that people are concerned about and normally can see. We have them for larger 3-inch shock all the way down to a 2-inch shock, and every size in the middle. Every vehicle has different shock and shock diameters depending. Steve and Mitch can tell you some of the models that we have them for already, but if we don't have it out right now, over the next few weeks, we'll have everything in place for every model. So check with us on all that. If you guys have questions on all this stuff, then hit up Steve right now. He's dying to answer because I think he already filled the sewer system up a little bit ago. He doesn't have much to do other than holding on to that hose. Excellent hose you've got there, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mitch, you had something I saw that you wanted to say.
I was just going to mention what we have them for, I guess, right now.
Okay, why don't you go through all the models?
Off the top, there's obviously a sleeve for every single car that we're coming out with, but your big ones like your XP1000s, so your walkers, 2.5 rears, your Pro XPs, which could be a 2.55 Fox. We have those as well ready to go. Your Turbo S, so your 3.0 and your 3.05, we have those ready to go. And then your Walker Velocity style series, 2.5 front, 3.0 rear, we have those ready to go as well. A lot of the 2.0 stuff is coming, but your majority of models that you see out there that mostly everybody has, we have them in stock ready to go.
Since you're talking about existing models or that we're going to have, why don't you go ahead and walk around the back and show everybody the stock sleeves that are on these. The reason that I think it's important to point these out is because it backs up what we're saying when it comes to the shock body wear being a standard issue for everyone, everywhere, no matter what you do. Now, if you clean the shock more, you're going to have less wear. If you're in a more abusive environment like mud or sand, you're going to have more wear. Well, taking a look at the back of this Pro R, which is actually a sand or DSR model for upfit, if you guys are looking for something to jump into tomorrow and be able to go to New Year's with a badass car, that's what this one is. But the rear shock on a Pro R comes OEM with the sleeve. Why don't you point that out for everybody to see?
That's a good point. Yeah. So basically, sleeve divider, the sleeve sits over the shock body. Your divider now wears on the sleeve instead of the aluminum shock body like we were talking about. That is factory, like Justin was saying, and to kind of top on that too, there's other vehicles that are also coming with sleeves too, because this is a problem from a factory standpoint.
I mean, right behind me, come on over here and point out on a factory Mav R on the rear.
Yep. So
There's
same
one as well.
Same thing. You can see it. It's crossover, wear sleeve, dividers riding on that, not the actual shock body. Cool thing about the Mav R, I guess, is this one comes with front and rear versus the Pro R's only having rears. But same kind of philosophy. You're still an aluminum body front and rear, so it's still going to wear through that. By adding the wear sleeve, you're now riding on that instead of the aluminum shock body, preventing the damage and keeping your shocks alive a lot longer.
Steve, what do you got?
Are we going to be making wear sleeves for the Speed?
Wow, that is
That,
the
I'll say
one.
that is
That is the one that I wasn't ready for. Well, yeah, because it's a 3.5-inch OD, right? Or it is 3.5.
It's going to depend on thread pitch, I would assume. Is that correct, Mitchie?
That is correct.
It depend on thread pitch.
So we don't have it yet. It's actually last on the list, but we'll get to it. That's for sure. Mitch, back to what you were talking about, though. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that the factory, as in BRP, Can-Am, and behind us, the Pro R, come with a factory sleeve?
Well, because they're seeing it from a factory standpoint too, with factory springs, factory components, if you will. We're seeing wear on the shock body, so they're trying to prevent it as well.
Mitch, can you say it louder for the people in the back? I didn't hear you there. What was it?
Steve didn't hear you. One more
Yeah,
time.
can you say it louder for the people in the back?
Because they're seeing wear with factory components as well, so they're trying to prevent it as much as they can.
Right. So
be my
basically, wear happens no matter what. Brand new factory.
Correct.
Weird. Right, Steve?
Super weird.
I know.
I
mean,
would say, yeah.
Did you see, body wear when you were a young lad, or did you just notice it later on in life?
Yeah, I've saw it a lot as I've gotten older, Justin.
So the more time that you put on your body, the more wear you've seen.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's I'm
Seems
glad,
like common
I'm
sense.
glad my wife loves me.
I think it's really important, and that's why I pointed out, we are kidding, but we're not, that wear happens everywhere, on everything brand new. It just depends where you're at, what the terrain is, and how you treat your vehicle, whether you clean it up or not, or you put it away with mud on it and come back out and drive it crusty, then that body's going to wear out more. Steve?
Justin, because being in the elements, dirt, sand, dust, whatever that gets up under the under the divider causes a lot of premature body wear. Can you use seal savers, and will that prevent body wear?
It will. I've always kind of had it's been a double-edged sword for me, in my opinion, about seal savers. We offer them, we sell them, and I do like them for certain environments. But I think the seal saver kicks ass when it comes to keeping sand, a lot of the mud, and things that are getting thrown at the shock body or thrown at the shaft seal or at the shaft. It stops a lot of that. The only thing that I don't like about those is if you're in a wet environment and it keeps wet mud or anything else inside the seal saver. So I don't mean to talk any smack about them. I'm not. I just think they have their place, and you should be very, very cognizant of where you're riding. So if you're always in a wet environment, maybe not the best for you. If you're in a drier environment, then I think is spot on.
Pull it apart every once in a while.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Ozempic Santa. Appreciate that. He has a great point. Very, very, very smart. You should take the seal saver off every once in a while and clean the sucker out. I mean, that is going to stop having a lot of stuff hiding inside there. My major issue with one would be like Florida. If you're kind of in the sandy, swampy, salty areas, then those are really big seal destroyers and shaft destroyers as it is. And if you keep that surrounding it, that's going to be worse. So in those spots, then take it off, clean it out, put it back on, you're going to be good. In dry spots, not so much, a little easier.
Another question about seal savers. Do they increase the heat inside the shock?
Yeah, they do. So if, maybe in a racing situation, it might be something to consider, but if in a play situation, nobody's overheating shocks to the point where they're failing when they're in a play car. Just doesn't happen. And just so you know, temps on that, you can run shocks at 250 to 270 degrees all day long without any issues. 280 to 300, things start coming apart, melting, and having problems. So play guys, if you touch the shock and it's hot, it's not hot enough to be a problem with the shock. Like in the dunes, you're never going to get them over 200 degrees. And 220 is probably a happy place for most shocks. Dom.
Mr. Brian Spencer ordered a set of Fox RC2s for his 2019 XPT during Black Friday. He's curious if he can add the new sleeves to those shocks.
You can. Now, Mitch, would those shocks have come with our spring kit on them already?
It comes with our spring kit, yes.
So then, all he has to do, if you haven't run them yet, then give us a call right away, and we'll swap you out the divider and the sleeves, and you're not going to have any extra cost other than the kit.
Yeah, or if he's saying like he's ordered them and waiting for them to get to him, like we have to ship them out still, can we add them to it before they
Should be
ship
no
out?
problem.
Yeah.
Hit us up and we'll change your order. Make sure that's all handled right there. Steve?
From Freddie Stauffer, he said, for the record, your crew did springs, tubes, and the Fulminator out at Glamis Thanksgiving. I'm very happy.
Awesome. Love
happy to
hearing
hear
that.
that.
We love doing stuff in Glamis because everybody gets to ride it immediately and they know the difference and they're riding with their buddies and it's a super huge improvement. So, John, looks like you had something to say.
What makes these special?
What makes them
unique about
special?
it? Yeah. What's different than some of the stuff out there already?
Well, first off, I don't think there's anything out there already that is one piece. I have seen some stuff that's two pieces that's actually glued together and glued to the shock. That's about the only one that I've ever seen so far. But if looking forward into the future, what's going to make this different than anybody else's is number one, they can't do it because this is patented. Number two, they can't do two-piece crossover because that's patented. So you wouldn't be able to install this unless it was a single or one-piece crossover and a different style of sleeve, which requires taking the whole shock completely apart, a ton more labor, a ton more time, just like the factory pieces are. And that's why a lot of people don't take the factory versions of body sleeves and upgrade them to anything because you have to take the whole shock apart to put them on. It's not easy. This, just like a normal crossover setup, you can take a completely assembled shock, pull the spring off, slide this body sleeve on, attach it with two-piece crossover, and you're down the road. So, special. Number one, it's just us. Number two, it's fast. Number three, the materials that we use are super high grade. We've been testing this for years. They last a long time. I keep trying to say forever. I shouldn't say forever. They're gonna outlast the car. I'll tell you that. That's from what we've seen. Steve.
Justin, cars such as the KRX and the Pro R, why do they only do wear sleeves on the rear and not the front?
I would say two reasons. One, the diameter of the rear is always larger. The diameter being larger means that the spring diameter gets larger, but the clearance between the two is a little bit tighter. The rear, as a spring compresses, they shake back and forth, and that shaking of the spring as it compresses is accentuated in the rear. So that's why they do that first. But in the front, on a lot of vehicles like, say, a Walker Evans XP1000, that's a smaller diameter shock, a 2-inch shock and a 3-inch spring. That's why you don't see any body wear because the spring is actually for a 2.5-inch diameter shock, not a 2-inch. There's more clearance and no issues. So factory-wise, I mean, Can-Am did the fronts. They probably realized after testing that it was probably necessary. Maybe there's less flex and side load on the spring on a Pro R for the front. Probably some engineering involved that I'm not aware of, but all those reasons. Mitch?
We'll be able to add fronts to cars that don't have fronts and only rears.
Your point is we have a kit
Yes.
for all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, on this kit, one more thing since we're looking at this. These do require a different divider because the ID of these dividers is different to account for the larger diameter or OD of the body sleeve. So if you have, for instance, purchased a spring kit from us, but you want to upgrade it to this, then the kit will be crossovers, body sleeve, and dividers to allow you to run that body. Questions on that?
So is this something I can install at home, or do I have to come to Shock Therapy?
Oh, you can absolutely, thanks for the question, but you can absolutely install this at home. There's nothing different to installing this than there is a normal spring kit or a normal crossover ring installation. Basically, install the crossover with the divider, you're down the road. All the other measurements, all the other processes are the same. Mitch? Oh, you're stretching. Was that an itch? Okay, gotcha. All right. Sorry. Never mind. Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you got?
No, somebody just asked, Justin, can you explain how the rebound works on a Fox IBP? Has nothing to do with wear sleeves, but they did ask the question.
Okay. Well, rebound is slowing the extension rate down, or less rebound is faster extension. More rebound is slower extension. And that's a combination of two things. That's the valving that's on the piston. It's also the position of the bypass ports in the bypass tube. of the IBP. Where they're located and the size of those can affect how quickly that's going to come out. And when it slows down, for instance, all the way at the bottom, usually the ports are a little bit higher so that when the piston hits those ports, it slows down the extension and you don't have extension clunk. And then you've got the adjustment. So rebound adjustment is always going to be on the bottom of the shock. Unless it's a live system, then it would be on the dash. If you have the ability to do that, or just change it from, say, like in a Pro R, it's going to be Comfort, Track, Rock, Baja. All of them have different rebound rates, so you're going to control it. But on the bottom of the shaft and the loop is an adjustment for the rebound. And as you turn that in, that's more rebound, which is more resistance, which slows the rebound extension down. You turn the screw on the rebound adjuster counterclockwise, which is less rebound. It's going to speed it up. There you go. Mitch.
Justin, if somebody wants to bring their shocks in for, let's say, a revalve or a rebuild and an update, what would they be looking at cost-wise to add wear sleeves to their shocks?
I think we're around $200, right, Mitch? What's the actual, we've got 2 different price ranges. Well, we've got 3 different body sizes, which change the price. But we also have, if you already have a spring kit, what the cost is.
Correct.
So what are those?
So 2.0, a 2.0 set, meaning 2 dividers, 2 wear sleeves, 2 crossovers. You're $149 for that. 2.5, you're $175, and then 3.0, you're $199. That is if you were buying just the wear sleeve kit on its own.
Is that a pair or a set?
That is a pair.
Okay.
So now if you're buying a spring kit and you want to upgrade to the wear sleeve, to the divider, to the crossover, everything there, you're basically $50 off
All of it.
all of it.
So now you're 100, 125, and 150.
Correct.
Okay.
So
And why do we sell them in pairs?
different shock sizes, right?
There you go.
You have
also,
yeah.
you might have that Pro R behind you,
Mm-hmm.
which has got factory sleeves on the back, so you might only want them on the front.
Yep.
So selling them as sets would be a little bit more complicated, actually, and a little bit more confusing at times. So they're always in pairs, and they're sold in pairs by the diameter and the model.
Yep. And then correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but website, basically pick your car and then we know which ones
Correct.
go to you, right? So you can order a full set and we'll basically send out what you need for that car versus the opposite direction and kind of trying to figure it out.
So Steve, I got this question on the live feed that I was just reading. What is actually on your tattoo? Completely across from left to right.
It says no regrets.
No regrets?
No,
Is it Gertz?
It says no fear, no worries.
No what?
No fear, no worries.
Oh, excellent.
Got it when I was 18.
Was there anything behind that? There's a story behind that?
I was 18 years old and didn't have anything to fear, and I didn't worry about anything when I was younger. And then as I got older, I had kids, and I started to fear and worry. So I just exit out at this point. But no, I was just 18 years old and wanted to get my chest done, and that's what I wanted to get.
Awesome.
Yeah, I spelled that one right. I do have a different tattoo that's spelled wrong, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, I'm glad that tattoo is above the wear sleeve distance, so we didn't have to lose that one. Stomach's polished pretty good, though.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, John.
So what does it mean if there's wear on top of the crossover rings and not on the body of itself?
Ooh. You probably got a broken upper spring, honestly. That means that the tender spring above the crossover or, the lower rate spring itself, I would be looking at whether it's seated properly, inside the upper adjuster or the upper preload nut. Could be sitting sideways. Or if the plastic divider, it's above that. Or if the plastic divider or slider is cracked, and this could be sitting crooked, which would bow the spring above the crossover. So look at both of those. Broken spring, broken divider, worn out divider, it's causing the upper to be bowed.
Also, these are a wearable item, so they're
Well,
going
yeah.
to get wear as well.
Yeah, so if you're, when you said wear above the crossover, I'm thinking that you got wear on the body. But if it's not the body you're talking about wear on the crossover, that's normal. It could be worse with all the things I just said. Broken spring's gonna make it worse, divider's gonna make it worse, all those things are gonna make it worse. But you should expect some rubbing on the crossover rings, that's normal. Some race cars, race trucks, trophy trucks will go one race and completely wear a set of crossovers off the shock and they gotta get replaced every race.
You have to
Normal
understand
stuff.
the clearance between there too. So you're talking a spring diameter that can only be so big, and then a crossover that has to be a certain size too.
Yeah, we're between 30 thousandths and 100 thousandths of clearance between the ID of the spring and the crossover. And the springs shake. So you're going to have it, no matter what, there's going to be some sort of wear on a crossover. It says everywhere in our paperwork and on our site, the crossovers are a wearing item, don't worry about it. The only thing that you can do to change that, you can take the spring with the cars jacked up and clock them 180 degrees, and then you won't see the wear. It'll be on the backside. But there's going to be some sort of wear at some point in time on those. Just like bodies wear because of grit and other things in between the divider and the body, which got
Yes,
Steve
sir.
very excited when I was
Yes,
talking about grit on his body, I think. But yes, you got something.
Yeah, Ryan Bartlett's asked us a few times, is the AMSOIL shock therapy oil a product between y'all and AMSOIL? No, it is not.
No. AMSOIL had done that right when we started our company. We've never complained to them, and they haven't complained to us. It's not ours. We have our own shock oil. So, yes, Dom.
So 2 questions. Joshua Tucker has a 24 Turbo R Ultimate, wondering about, off topic, QSC and E-Lift in the axle fins. When will they be available, and will you guys be coming out with anything else about a sway bar to make it stiffer with body roll?
So the CV cooling fins, I think, is what we're talking about with axle fins, right? So the CV coolers are on the website now. Take a look. They're already there. When it comes to ride height adjustment or e-preload, we're almost there. Honestly, we got a pile of stuff already that's ready to get teed up. It'll get probably launched in January. I think, and that's like for real, not my 30 days. It's actually, no. Well, it would be actually 2
That actually would be about 2, you can say it, Justin.
it
2
really
weeks.
is. About 2 weeks that comes out. Mitch has got a whole stock of those that are on the shelf, and we're just finishing up some of the marketing to launch it in January. E-Sway is available right now, but you have to have factory spring package, basically a completely factory car. The E-Sway links have some modifications that are being done right now to allow them to clear all spring packages for vehicles. We do have some sway bar options for them that's not launched yet that are stiffer, but the stiffer setup works great with E-Sway, so we're kind of waiting to launch that with modified links. So I can't give you a time on those, but I think that's everything he was asking, right?
Yes. Justin, what's your
Steve.
race schedule looking like for 2025?
Good question. I think we're constantly adding to it as it is right now. Number one, we're going to run all of SCORE, so 4 races in SCORE, and we'll probably mix it up with a few things in the middle of that, some Best in the Desert races, and some stuff in Laughlin, and maybe even Parker. But most of our race schedule in the States is dependent upon, and KOH. We'll be at KOH for the desert race. Then after that is going to be 1 Parker race, then San Felipe, then will be the 500, then Laughlin, then the 400, and then the 1,000. If there's a big enough split between them, like say 2 months, then we'll fill it with another race and go run it, just for the heck of it. But lately, I don't know if you guys saw Corey. Nobody really knows where anyone finished in the last race at Rage of the River because of timing and stuff. But I'm pretty sure Corey was in the 4th, 5th area, somewhere like that. And he just took the car not really in prep from the 1,000 and shoved a battery in it, which was our problem in the 1,000 for electrical, and ran that race and did pretty good. Qualified like 2nd. So doing well.
Justin, off topic, what is your favorite leased car for Glamis?
My
You
favorite
mean your least favorite? Oh my gosh.
Would that be least favorite?
I think I had an aneurysm.
Favorite leased.
I had an aneurysm hearing that.
Favorite least for Glamis? Anything 120 horsepower or less. A lot of models. Anything with no power to climb dunes and actually dune, first of my no favorites. Most least favorite. Double negatives. If you get into like the turbo stuff and that actually has the power to dune, then least. I mean, I'll go backwards, right? So my most favorite is going to be a Pro R. Next in line's a Mav R. And then after that, I mean, none of the Cowies have the power, although I like them in other places. Oh, the X3. I mean, good old trusty. for sure, and even like Turbo S's and Pro XPs. I don't have a problem with any of those. I mean, I just can't stand Yamaha. We all know that. Shifting's fun, yay! Now what?
Steve, Todd Brown's asking, is the full?
Oh, it's full, sir. It is full. Justin, are you racing KOH or we're just going to be there?
Both. So we're gonna actually race KOH. We'll be doing the desert race. We're not gonna do the rock race. So I know, John. I'm sorry.
John's car for it.
Oh, you want to volunteer?
Oh, John, yeah.
Drive one of yours.
Hey, John, if you want to drive, I will navigate again. It's been a while.
Wow.
For sure.
One of your cars?
Sure. Well, I don't have any good rock cars, though. Honestly. I mean, none of them are like boat-sided with all kinds of cool things.
Right, let's go.
All right. So maybe we'll run both. Maybe. But the only thing we have plans for right now is we'll be there Wednesday. We got tech, qualifying on Thursday, or not qualifying, but we have pre-running on Thursday. We have driver's meeting on Friday, race on Saturday. So we'll be in and out Wednesday through Friday for the desert stuff. And if John can talk me into it, we might stay and do rocks. But so we'll be there. Also, we've got the upfit semi, and we also have the shock therapy semi. So we'll be there, and I'll be floating around all those too. So I keep looking to you guys because I'm done talking. I figured if you're not going to fill this up with some more questions, we can cut it out.
I don't really have many questions unless you guys do. We can close it out, Justin.
All right. Well, then, you guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll edit this down for something you can watch later on YouTube. So thanks for watching on YouTube in advance. Thanks to Steve for sending his costume again. And he is definitely going Scottish underneath that. I can attest. I have seen it. And Dom, appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Everybody here, Merry Christmas. And you guys watching, Merry Christmas. Steve, take it away.
Guys, Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. We won't see you until the new year, 2025, which is in about 2 weeks, Justin, your favorite word. If you guys want to buy the wear sleeves, go to our website, www.shocktherapy.com, or call us 623-217-4959. Anything moving forward from tomorrow to Friday, we're also throwing in a free beanie.